I'm up at about 5 o'clock every morning, waiting on daylight to be able to do what I love doing.
Georgia's peanut industry, we grow 50% of the U.S. peanuts here in South Georgia.
Peanut butter is a special food for the whole world, and to know that we played a part of that.
Feeding the community, our country, the world, makes it mean a lot.
It's just a blessing to be a Georgia farmer. I can't think of anything else I'd rather do.
I'm Greg Lloyd, and you're watching Proud to be a Georgia Farmer. Over the next half hour, we're going to take a look at the people who make Georgia's #1 crop, the peanut, world-renowned. It's incredible how beneficial the peanut is. What's even more incredible? The people who farm them. One Worth County farmer rises before the sun each morning, eager for daylight to break so he can start his work. He's a man who's been at it for more than 60 years with no plans to slow down.
Billy Sinkbill started farming this Worth County land 63 years ago.
My grandfather farmed, my daddy farmed, and I farmed, and I started right out of high school, basically, in 1962.
Now, in his early 80s, farming still makes him happy.
Retirement's not really in my vocabulary, really. I'm up at about 5 o'clock every morning, waiting on daylight to be able to do what I love doing. My daughter's always told me that Daddy says, you never have had a job because you love your work too much. And if you love your work, it's not a job.
Did you always know that you wanted to be a farmer when you were growing up?
Pretty much so. I always played in the dirt and planted some carrots and some radish and things like that growing up. Just, I love to see things grow.
With more than 6 decades of growing cotton and peanuts on hundreds of acres, Sinkbill's always relied on faith to nurture his crops.
I've never irrigated. I depend on God to water my crops and make whatever I make. If He wants me to make it, I make it. And so I depend on prayers better than pivots, the way I say it. If I could make it, I'd make it. If I didn't, I was going to have to quit, So far, I've been fortunate enough to hold on since 1962.
Fall brings the peanut harvest, a busy time of year on Sinkbill's farm.
Georgia 06 is probably one of the best peanuts that we can grow in this area.
Tell me about the process you're in harvesting right now. So you've dug them up, and how long have they been drying?
We've got them plowed under, turned over, waiting for them to dry, in which they're ready to pick.
A lot has changed since Sinkbill started farming, but he's embraced the technology.
It's probably been the most helpful change in technology that's come your way.
I think strip till probably is one of the best things that's come by. Strip tilling is growing a cover crop during the winter, having something growing on your land all the time if possible. It keeps the soil temperature down, helps hold moisture, it helps grow organic matter, keeps it from eroding, just makes it so much better, healthy soil.
Even though farming takes up most of his time, Sinkbill also made time for 2 hobbies. One of them, collecting toy pedal tractors.
Been doing it for over 25 years, but I put my main collection together probably 15 years.
The other, becoming a pilot. Tell me what kind of plane this is that we're looking at.
This is a 1947 Luscombe.
But it wasn't just flying planes that took his career to new heights.
In 1989, when you made it into the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest peanut, tell me about that.
Right. Well, we were growing some Virginia-type peanuts, so it was 3 11/16 inches long, and so we got it authenticated and made it in the Guinness Book.
And with that fame came national commercials for Miracle-Gro. In 1995, Continental Airlines featured Sinkbill in a series of ads that aired during the Super Bowl and NBA Finals.
Continental Airlines had a deal coming along, flying for peanuts, add a penny, add a pal, only on Continental. Anyway, they tried some professional commercial makers and didn't like exactly what they wanted, So they came to the peanut capital, interviewed a bunch of us peanut farmers, and I won the spot to make their commercials for them.
But by far, his most treasured role is and always will be that of a Georgia farmer.
Very much so. I don't know where else I could farm and enjoy it any more than I could in Georgia. And besides that, in Worth County. I was born and raised here in Worth County, and this is where I've always lived and farmed at, and I love it, being a Georgia farmer.
This land's probably been in my family's name over 100 years.
My grandfather farmed, my daddy farmed, and I farmed.
I'm a fourth generation plus on 3 separate family farms.
Opportunity is what he gave me, and that's all I've ever asked for, you know.
A natural disaster a few years ago practically wiped out his farm, but it could not destroy a 6th generation South Georgia farmer's love for agriculture. We travel to Double H Farms in Seminole County to discover how a family's resilience and determination endures no matter the setback.
The food on your table, the clothes you're wearing. There's a good chance that Double H Farms near Iron City grew some of the products that you've bought at the store.
Where we're standing right now, this land's probably been in my family's name over 100 years.
Judson Hornsby and his family own and operate Double H Farms near Iron City.
We grow a total of a little over 4,000 acres. We have cotton, peanuts, corn. We grow green beans, and we have some cattle too.
This past year, they grew 1,900 acres of peanuts. Even when they're not in the peanut fields, they're working to make their harvest successful.
We're just looking over all the diggers and pickers, servicing them and getting them ready where we shouldn't have any major breakdowns when we start back in a day or so when the weather gets good.
But one of the hardest parts of farming is facing those events you just can't prepare for. One of the most devastating in recent history, Hurricane Michael in 2018.
I mean, it was pretty depressing, like to wake up and everything be gone and just overnight. We had an original shop my granddaddy and them built, and Michael tore all of it down, and our shed out back. We had 2 more barns out back that all of it was blown down. We didn't harvest any cotton when Michael hit, and it pretty much destroyed all our farm, barns, shelters, anything we had standing was pretty much gone. So it took several years to rebuild all that.
Some of the crops are generational, like trees and stuff. Did y'all lose a lot of pine trees or pecan trees, or what did you
We
lose?
just lost a lot of pine trees.
A lot of pine trees?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Probably a couple of 100 acres of trees. We still have timber we replanted, like still have damage in the woods. Like some people lost their whole timber crop, you know, that was their retirement and stuff, and just start from scratch.
Hornsby is a 6th generation farmer who realized at a young age he wanted to follow in his family's footsteps.
I grew up farming with my granddaddy when I was little in the tractor riding with him, and it was stuck. I was done then, so can't get away from it. My daddy's 67, 68, fixed to have his 50th peanut crop, and he's still working. I work with my dad and uncle every day, and my cousin, my brother, and now my son's actually farming with us. So.
What would you say is the most rewarding and the most challenging part of being a farmer?
The most rewarding is probably the end of the year when you harvest, seeing what you got. Then challenging, there's a lot of challenges now, like price of equipment, commodity prices are extremely low. Interest rates have almost doubled.
But Hornsby says despite the hardships, he can't imagine doing anything other than farming.
Feeding the community, our country, the world, you know, makes it mean a lot. We get to take care of the land and produce food for like the world.
And that love for growing crops, providing food, fiber, and shelter for his community and his world, along with his family's strong history of resilience, remain among the many reasons Judson Hornsby is proud to be a Georgia farmer.
One South Georgia farmer hopes to inspire a new generation to love agriculture just as much as he does. Meet the 2025 Outstanding Georgia Young Peanut Farmer who wants to inspire excellence in aspiring farmers.
Ryan Ireland takes great pride in helping Georgia remain America's #1 peanut producing state.
Georgia's peanut industry, you know, we grow 50% of the U.S. peanuts here in South Georgia, and that's a kind of a big deal, you know, to be a part of that.
For the 2025 season, Ireland planted more than 500 acres of peanuts.
So we they make a peanut board that has different colors and numbers on it.
And knowing when they're ready to harvest combines science.
When you get X number of peanuts in the black, you know, they're saying, hey, it's time to dig.
And good old-fashioned know-how.
You got that? And about 14% moisture.
Allowing the peanuts to dry properly between digging and harvesting them comes down to dollars and cents.
If you get something up there 18, 20+% moisture, I mean, you're looking at $40+ a ton. It takes to dry them. And if you're lucky, you got a contract for 500. So if you got to pay 40, you know, you're down to 460. And that's just eating into your bottom line. So
Ireland, named 2025's Outstanding Young Georgia Peanut Farmer, admits that farming brings many challenges.
that we've had combines break down in years past and work all day on it, get it together, you know, crank it up. It sounds like it. I mean, you know, it's running good. Take off down the field. It don't go 100 yards and tears right back up. And that'll really, you know, it'll really set you'll figure out who you are during them times.
And Ireland's figured out it's all in how you approach the difficulties.
I'd say it takes a lot of heart. You've got to be willing to do it on the good days, the bad days. You can't get mad and throw in the towel, you know, because you can't quit because nobody's going to come do it for you. And pray about it. That's what I do. I mean, pray, and I have the most faith that God's seen me through some horrible times. So I just trust in Him.
But even on the worst days in the field, Ireland says he cannot imagine doing anything other than farming.
It's just a blessing to be a Georgia farmer. I can't think of anything else I'd rather do.
Ireland's grandfather passed down his passion for farming, and his friend Willis Collins provided Ireland the opportunity to buy his land and equipment when Collins retired, and it's helped him expand his farming.
He never gave me nothing, but opportunity is what he gave me, and that's all I've ever asked for, you know. Just show me the door and I'll open it. So I was very thankful for him too. He was a big part of my life.
He hopes to pass on that same opportunity to his own children or some other young person with a desire to carry the farming torch.
I do worry about the next generation. We definitely got to have farmers because that's a big part of South Georgia's economy.
Ireland uses volunteer opportunities in the community to encourage a new generation's love of agriculture. And just as he contributes to Georgia's status as the #1 peanut producing state, he hopes to cultivate the next generation of farmers.
These gluten-free monster peanut butter cookies will wow anyone reaching into your cookie jar. Whisk dry ingredients first, and then cream butter, sugar, and brown sugar. Add in eggs, peanut butter, and vanilla. Don't forget the peanuts and chocolate chips when you combine the batter. Chill the dough and bake for 15 minutes or until cookies are lightly browned. Dip in dark chocolate, drizzle with some warm peanut butter, and sprinkle some crunchy, flaky salt on top for utter peanut butter cookie perfection.
Four generations of farming legacy live on in the peanut fields of Early County. And one South Georgia farmer says his passion for his profession reignites every time he goes to the grocery store.
Mike Newberry can't help but feel proud when he spots peanut butter on store shelves.
I say, that's ours. That's ours, and that's peanut butter is a very special food for the whole world, and to know that we played a part of that, it's very likely that those peanuts came from somewhere in Southwest Georgia.
And likely those peanuts came from Hillside Farms, where Newberry grows peanuts along with corn, cotton, and cattle. And one thing Newberry loves, how each season brings new opportunities for growth.
We almost get to start over every year. That springtime, it's funny how God made springtime after winter. Winter dreary, nasty, and all of a sudden in March we see the weather begin to turn, and those of us who have been raised in this environment, it brings a new life to us.
Newberry's roots in farming run deep. He's a fourth-plus generation farmer.
Part of this farm was my maternal grandmother's. Part of this farm was my paternal grandfather's, and part of this farm was my maternal grandmother's. So think about that a little bit. I'm a fourth generation plus on 3 separate family farms.
Newberry says he's satisfied with his 2025 peanut crop following a summer that brought no shortage of weather challenges.
I'm pleased with our crop, but it was a difficult summer. It was hot, as you well know. It was dry, as you well know. The wind seemed like it blew every day. That just dried out our world even faster. We had to irrigate an awful lot, and then we finally started getting some rains very late in the season.
But Newberry says no matter the season, he keeps himself grounded through his faith.
But what I know that I forget to do is say thanks. So many times. I do. You know, we look around us. Look at the blue sky today. We look around us, and I just think we forget that God gave us all this.
Newberry knew from an early age he wanted to carry on his family's agricultural legacy.
As a kid, all I really wanted to do was play in the dirt.
Newberry says it's an honor to be a Georgia farmer, especially in South Georgia.
We live in an area that is extremely diversified in agriculture. The Midwestern farmer cannot say that. He does not have the growing opportunities that we have.
Andy says he's filled with gratitude that Georgia invests so much in agriculture.
We get an opportunity also to know very well all the researchers and specialists that provide us with the knowledge that we have to have. And you know, the Peanut Commission works every day tirelessly. You just kind of take all that for granted. We can't do that. You got to remember that they work hard.
And whether he's harvesting peanuts or planting cover crops, Newberry says he's proud to do it all here at home, providing for his neighbors and the world.
Get local live news, first alert weather, and sports anytime you want. Download and stream WALB News 10, watch live, or play it back later. It's easy to watch, it's easy to install, and it's free. So the next time you stream, search WALB News 10.
As a kid, all I really wanted to do was play in the dirt.
You've got to be willing to do it on the good days, the bad days.
I grew up farming with my granddaddy when I was little, in the tractor riding with him.
Retirement's not really in my vocabulary, really.
The Georgia Peanut Commission along I-75 in Tifton offers the perfect opportunity to stop, shop, and purchase some of the state's prolific peanut products, a crop that keeps growing and booming in bounty.
Georgia is actually the largest peanut producer in the United States, growing over 50% of the peanuts. And this last year in 2025, we actually had a record amount of acres planted since World War II, in the fact that we grew over 900,000 acres of peanuts.
And with a crop this big comes the need for an equally big advocate and resource center. And that's just what the state's farmers created with the largely member-sponsored Georgia Peanut Commission.
The Georgia Peanut Commission is a grower-funded organization. $2 of every ton of peanuts that is grown in the state of Georgia is earmarked and goes to fund what the commission does. And the commission handles programs in promotion, research, and education.
I'm the extension peanut agronomist, so I'm kind of the person that takes the basic research and adapts it for the growers.
Scott Monfort with the University of Georgia guides research efforts statewide to improve peanut crops, but the information goes beyond just blanket suggestions. Monfort and the UGA scientists set up research stations in farmers' fields throughout the state to make their help as localized as possible.
Not every county in this state has the same microclimate. That's the biggest thing. Each area is different from their water sources, their soil types, the unique rotational crops that they deal with. Then we fine-tune those recommendations so that every grower in the state knows that when we put out something that is a recommendation to be more productive or to use this particular variety or fungicide program, that it's going to meet the needs that they or answer the needs that they have on that particular place.
Mike Newberry participates in the research by allowing UGA to use his fields as a test site, one way that he can give back to efforts to improve the peanut crops.
They have to be, no matter what they do, whether they're the weed man, the pathologist, no matter what they are, the insect man, they have to first be agronomists. They have to understand how everything grows, and then they have their little special disciplines. But Scott is trying to manage so many aspects of the crop, trying to gather so many aspects of the information and disseminate them back to us in a way that we understand.
Monfort says for him, it's an honor to help Georgia's peanut farmers in such a meaningful way.
I've had people that help me all along the way to get through all the education, through learning all the things I've learned. It's because somebody lended a hand to get me there. And so to me, the ultimate way I repay that is through service that I do today.
The Georgia Peanut Commission, a powerful tool for farmers to help themselves today and arm the next generation with the know-how of tomorrow through science and research.
The peanut harvest may only come around once a year, but for Georgia's farmers, keeping the state's more than $2 billion crop growing, it's a year-round endeavor.
Peanuts actually typically take about 145 days to grow and to be harvested on average. They have to tend the crop, they have to manage pests, they have to manage disease, they have to manage irrigation practices many times. And then towards the end of September, the month of October and into November, they will begin the harvest of the peanuts.
Scott Monfort, the UGA agronomist who works closely with the Georgia Peanut Commission, says the weather's always a big challenge for farmers. Last year, a lack of rainfall caused problems for many of the state's peanut producers.
Now, this weather throws all kind of kinks into trying to produce a crop. They enhance disease pressure. insect pressure, all those kind of things too.
Input costs presented another concern as farmers work to keep their expenses down. But Monfort expresses optimism in the future, pointing out that even though yields were a bit down in 2025, the acreage of Georgia-grown peanuts soared.
And it's gotten to a point now that one of the ways that in Georgia we combat having lower commodity prices like cotton, soybeans, or corn is we plant more peanuts. And so we have grown 10% over the last 3 years, you know, from being in the low 700s to, like I said, last year we were 911,000 acres, which is the largest amount of acres that we've had since World War II. And so that's phenomenal. Even though we didn't yield high, we still made a lot of peanuts.
Monfort says he wants to remind Georgia's farmers the UGA Extension Service is always there to support them in offices across the state.
I want our growers to realize too that we do have a lot of young agricultural extension agents now in our counties. We need them to reach out to them if they need help. Guess what? They may be new, but they know how to get to us specialists. So, you know, don't forget that they're still there to help them. And we want to make sure that this relationship stays as strong as possible.
Promoting growth and collaboration. Very important for Georgia's farmers to keep the state's spot as the #1 peanut producer in America.
We all have a reason to appreciate the Georgia peanut and the people who have a hand in producing it. Thank you for watching Proud to be a Georgia Farmer, brought to you by the Georgia Peanut Commission.